بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome all of you again with your lecture program Fatwa on Air Directly. The first question today about selling cigarettes in the supermarkets and places like that. To work in places that sells it. I think the person is asking don't know that the rule of cigarettes by itself. But his question is not about cigarettes. It's about work in an area that sells this filth. The answer: this is what is been a calamity that's everywhere, especially for those who live outside Muslim countries. If you can directly avoid it, after that, you could sell the permissible to whomever you wish. And the existence of the what is forbidden and someone buys it, sells it, it's okay. And if he could find something where he don't have this forbidden things, it is better for him. But then he said, well, I'm a worker. I can't choose this or that. I work in that place. I will sell this or that. When the customer comes in, I can't tell him I don't sell cigarettes. The origin that too is not, but also Allah said, don't help each other in aggression. But also there's an exceptions for necessities and the rules that are different. Some people are new to this country, and you have financial responsibilities, rent, bills, and you have no other sources, and you don't have an income beside that. So these are all put in, is understood. So if you look at it as stages, that is something temporary, that you do your best to find something else. And you don't exceed in it, because what is accepted for necessity, you don't want to continue into it. And you try to avoid as much as you can, as soon as you can. So this is as far as the first question. The second question, the brother is a woman. She had a C-section and delivering the baby. She don't have the blood of after the delivery, the pregnancy. So what is the rule? As far as purification, the prayers, fasting, and her husband. The answer that nifas, it is the blood that coming out of the womb because of pregnancy, because delivering the baby. So if no blood, and this is very seldom, so she does not have a nifasa, and she don't have to have the same rules like because the rule with the existence of the blood. If there is a blood, then there is nifas. There is no blood, there is no nifas. Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi, in his book, he said, if she delivered the baby and there is no blood, then she is pure, and there is no waiting period for her, because the nifas is the blood that comes with the delivering the baby. And the same thing, another scholar said the same rule. So if she took a shower, then that's it. She have the same after she delivered the baby. If that she have the, she could pray, she could fast, she could everything. And in Saudi Arabia, they were asked about the C-section. So the same question was applied to them. And the answer, if she saw blood, she sweated till the stops. If not, then she pray and fast, just like any pure one. And add one more thing. It was disputed about whether she should make take a shower, take a ghusl. And it said she don't have it because it was required because of the blood that comes out. And this is what Al-Maliki madhab went through. It was said that and the delivering the baby, that's what Ashafi and others they have decided. No, that the, even if there's little blood, then it requires the ghusl. And she do everything with being pure. The rule about combining uh, in the house, and I can't stop because I deliver customers. I can't go back till Maghrib. The answer, the Prophet ﷺ, he combined between Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha with no fear or traveling or rain. And Ibn Abbas said, so he will not put a burden on his followers. So if you fear that you're going to miss the prayers, we are having a problem with Asr because the Dhuhr is long time. Whoever leaves Al-Asr, his deeds are voided, are wasted. So if you are afraid to miss it, then you can combine Dhuhr and Asr. But you cannot shorten it, you just combine. Please don't get confused between shortening the prayers and combine it. To combine it, you can, and it's easier to do that, but not the shortening of the prayers. Other difference that the combine whenever you need it. If you don't need it, then you pray in all this time. And the evidence in Mina and Hajj, we shorten the fourth, but we don't combine. Because people are staying in Mina, they're not going nowhere. They have no other job but to sit there. So the sunnah you could shorten, but you don't combine. That does not mean that combining the prayers is forbidden. No. Someone might be tired and he need to sleep. It's okay. So if he don't need it, then he don't need to combine the prayer, but he could shorten in Mina. And the shortening is whenever you're traveling. Or at rain or issues of that sort. Question: I live in Canada and I work in selling cars. What is the responsibility if the option to sell the car as is, what is, and the auction, they have a separate company that looks at the car and declare what they see. Am I free with the faults of this? This is something that's different between the scholars because there is nothing wrong with the selling as long as you are free from the flaws, except the one that you know. If you know a flaw, you need to tell them. So you cannot hide it. So if you lie and hide, then there is no blessing. But if there is something you don't know it, you're not responsible. Sold as is. This is what it looks. Wallahu alam. The rule about the interest in bank because of deposit. If it is in Islamic bank, it'll be profit. But if it is in normal bank, these are interest that is forbidden. This is the riba that is without a doubt that it is that Allah has forbidden. Allah said, "Or you believe, fear Allah and stay away from usury, from riba. If you don't do it, then declare a war against Allah and His Messenger." If you live in the Eastern world, that you found a lot of Islamic banks. So take it to an Islamic bank so you could get out of this dilemma. I mean, and the lectures that you make, that you do after Fajr, you you mentioned the explanation of the Allah's attributes and names, and she is asking. She looks like a student. The word Islam, it was mentioned in the Quran, but the attributes, is it in the Quran? Is it in the Sunnah? Is there evidence to put the description on Allah? The answer, my dear sister, yes. You can use the adjective and you can attribute Allah Azza wa Jal, to say the character of Allah, the character of, from His characters is mercy, gracefulness. The evidence, this is in the understanding of the Quran and the Sunnah. In the Quran, Allah saying, praise to Allah, the one of honor from what they are describing, and praise on the messengers. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allah has praised Himself from everything that the disbelievers are attributing to Him of flaws, meaning that attributing the right attribute. So Allah put the peace on the messenger because they describe him the right way. The disbeliever, they did not attribute the right things to Allah, but the attributes of the believers to Allah is something Allah is satisfied and happy with. From the Sunnah, the hadith of Aisha, that the Prophet ﷺ sent a man on an army, and he always finished with Qul Huwa Ahad. When they went back, they told the Prophet ﷺ. He said, ask him, why does he do that? Because it has the character of Ar-Rahman, and I love to read with it. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, tell him that Allah loves him. So he liked him to call it the Surah Al-Ikhlas, Qul Huwa Ahad, as the character of Allah, the edge of Allah. And also Al-Bukhari, he put in his book chapter, praises your Lord from what they are describing, and to Allah is the dignity, and to His Messenger, and whoever swear with the honor of Allah and His attributes. Also, they said the chapter of which one is higher, say Allah. So Allah told Himself, and the Prophet ﷺ, he called the Quran Shaykh, and it is a character of Allah. The Ahl Sunnah still use the adjective and attribute to Allah Azza wa Jal, with no one denying it, or accusation of innovation. And whomever looked in the scholars before, and you'll find that they are using that a lot. Imam Abu Hanifa, he says Allah is not described with the description of the creations, and his attributes that we all know is without how. He is satisfied and he get angry. Is it like us? No, but it is something that is fit his highness and his status. Imam Malik said, he said, stay away from the innovation. They said, what are they? He said, those who speak in Allah's names and attributes and knowledge, and they don't be quiet about what the companions are quiet about. And in it there is a lot of talk. Al-Fadl ibn Iyad says, we cannot indulge into how, because Allah described himself and he have done enough. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. But where the doubt is coming from? We say Allah's name. Why don't we say his attributes? Ibn Hazm, he's the only one who declared that. And Ibn Hajar replied to him. He said there is a proof. We have proof to Allah Azza wa Jal as attribute. Ibn Hazm said this is a description that people use it from vocabulary, but it's not attributed to Allah Azza wa Jal or the companions or the scholars or the companions of Allah. And with it, then he said, Al-Hafidh al-Hajar, in reply, that they're talking about hadith that Ibn Hazm, he weakened it, and Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar, he thinks it's strong. And the names are characters, and in proving his names is to prove his attributes. Summary: can you could word the word that to Allah, then you can put an attribute to him. Is there a proof? Yes. Different evidence, the hadith of Abu Hurairah, that Ibrahim did not he did not like the 3, 2 in the self of Allah. And Khubayb al-Ansari, when he said, I don't care when I killed as a Muslim, which I die in the sake of Allah, and that's in the Allah. I mean, another question: we, the refugees in Europe, we live from money that they give us. What is the rule of this money? It's permissible, as long as you're not conditioned when you spend it, a condition that's going to be against Islam. If this pillar gave you a gift, no problem to take it. No problem. He was given a gift from the disbelievers, and he took their gifts, and he was to food, and he knew their money is mixed. I know that the Jews will take the usury, but he ate their food. Another question the questionnaire is asking: the one who is responsible on the charity, her husband is not in the house. So the guy of the gas comes in and she pays him from the charity. She writes the money that she so he could pay it back. Can she do that? The answer in the trust to to keep the money that you give it itself to its owner. If I give you money, you put it in an envelope or in a safe place, you close it, you don't spend it in your part until I ask you or someone who present me, so you give it to him exactly. So the trust is something you put to protect the money that you will return equal, and the hand of the trustee is trusted. So the only way he could be free from is taken out if he did all the efforts to protect it. I was asked if I something wrong or if I put my hand on it. If something happened, then it's on the person who owes the money. Unless the person used the money so from a trust person to someone who's a stealer, who steals. Instead of being trustworthy, he became a thief because he cannot use that money in his own personal affairs. Since he have done, then his hand is the hand of a thief, and he is responsible for all the money. This action is not allowed. This is the rule. And for the necessities, also as rules, here we're talking about the original rule that you shouldn't, and the wife should not go into that money in his absence, and he need to make sure all the things, and he should leave the money in the house. And as we said, for each necessity you have a measurement. A family question that carry a catastrophe, pain, when you listen to this calamity of the story. One of the sisters said that she is married about 12 years ago. She stays with her husband in a Western country. And he abused her and hit her more than once. One time with a fly because she did not clean it. One time with a heavy shoe. And there are so many other examples. And sometimes when she had a baby, he tied her in the post and in the basement, and he left her until he came back at Maghrib, or from Maghrib to Fajr, and did the same thing with his son. He always very abusive to his kids, and you could see the effect on their bodies. Now, after the fifth child, she decided that she's going to run away from him. So she took her kids, and she stayed with her family, and took to her family, and the government, they sent him 37 felonies. The man is a reciter of the Quran, and he is very good, and now he cries day and night. He says that he regrets what he did, he admits his mistakes, and he's looking for a way to convince his wife and her family to you know, to drop the charges, and she loves him, and her family affected her. Her family, they told the scholars, and they refused to help him or interfere or to his calls. She said, "My husband, my a friend of his, he said that he is changed to free him at least from prison." And her friend sees that if she did that, then he will go back to his to be abusive. So first of all, we say this is a family. It came from one side, one of the sides of this dispute, and you cannot judge between two until you hear from both. But I'm amazed that she loves him a lot, and she cannot live without him. And her family are the one who changed her mind. How could the love go with all this abusive? She's hoping for salvation. You want to be saved at the day of judgment, and you don't do the indulgence, like to go the path that you're supposed to save yourself. So if what is attributed about him being abusive, it's amazing, and it's more amazing that he is a memorizer of the Book of Allah, and he's talking about different recitations. In summary, that to make up peace between them is better, it's good. No one forgive except that Allah will honor him. Nothing more rewarding from Allah from an anger someone held it in the sake of Allah. But you have to balance between the forgiven and her interest that he will not go back to be abusive to her. So there should be one part that's going to put him, so hold him legal wise. In case if he thought of going back to this abusive power. And then he needs to understand that the women are not a burden for every tyrant to catch them. Everybody needs to know that any hand, Allah is on top of it. No transgressors, that Allah will not send him someone who's going to do him what. One of the companions, he was hitting his slave, and he heard the Prophet saying, "No, Ibn Mas'ud," and he turned, and the whip fell out of his hand. He said, "Allah is more powerful on you than your capability on this child." He says, "Free in the sake of Allah." He said, "If you didn't do it, then the hellfire will touch you." Allah said, "If they obey you, don't transgress on them. Allah is high." So those who you think that you are high, know that Allah is higher. And you need to know that whomever the Quran did not stop him, the authority will. So maybe this need to be discussed with some of the lawyers to protect the woman. And I don't think there's anything wrong with correcting if it is true what is attributed to this guy. Second question, can we pray in the car if there is no other place for us? And I can't imagine that you cannot get into maybe if there's no rest area and you're stranded in the freeway, then you could go. But you need to look into replacement. Don't go for necessities before you do your best to find. But if there's nothing except, I really doubt there is no alternative. But anyway, about the killing the bugs like spiders, ants. These ants, if there is harm in it, then you kill it. It should not be with the fire. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, five are filthy that you need to kill them. No, the and also the last one is the snake, the spider. And this hadith shows that you can kill those things that are mentioned, the things that are harmful, and ants, and try to avoid its harm. The ants, if it's not harmful, don't kill it. An ant bit a prophet, so he asked for the whole tribe to be killed. Allah told him, "You one ant bit you. You want to burn a whole tribe that's praised on Allah?" So if it's harmful, you could kill it. If not, you don't. A woman said, "What do I do if I know that I have to bring someone to Zakat al-Fitr?" What do you mean? Like you did not do it, then it is a loan on you, and you have to pay it, because the debt of Allah you have to pay. But if you mean that a person took it on your behalf without your authority, that's you cannot, because the zakah is worship. You have to have intention, because the deeds with the intention, and for everyone for what he intended. If he wanted to donate it or to give you something, what he paid, because zakah is a worship, you have to have the intention. Son of Muflih said, whomever gives his money zakah on someone who is alive without his permission, it's not enough if he didn't do it. And that's why we say the mosque understand we give the zakah. Sometimes we give the zakah before people zakah, even though there's no but you don't just waste. You have to have the representation that's clear for those who take the zakah on your behalf, because indeed all actions are by the deeds, and zakah is different than paying the debt. I can pay the debt without telling him, but the zakah is a worship. You have to have the intention for every person what he intended. But sometimes the representation, the power of attorney, could be general, just like that your father pay on your behalf. You know it and he knows, and it's like that. So you don't have to have a specific one, no. But if there is understanding between you and your father that he pays it, so there's no problem with that, because what's known in general is like condition. Another question: my work is 200 some 300 miles. I go 12 days. I come back 4 days. Can I pay shorten in the work? We tell you, the majority of scholars, that whomever intended to stay more than 4 days, you don't combine. If you don't, it's not a traveling. you don't have the rules of traveling. So you stayed, you shorten, and you're gonna say this like the Prophet ﷺ did when he went to Mecca in Hajj al-Wada. And he continued to shorten until the 8th of the Hajj. And from the time you put your clothes down, not after 4 days. If you're gonna stay for 10 days, I could take 4 days, no break, no. From first time you enter, that's it. You're not a traveler anymore. So enjoy a complete prayer. May Allah accept from you and me, inshallah. A woman is asking, she was in a work and she has a problem. Every time she wants money, she took loans from work. Now she had over 10,000 of her currency without her their knowledge. Now she don't work anymore. I want to, and she doesn't have money. That money is a loan until you pay it, or they will forgive you, because the rights of people will not and ask Allah Azza wa Jal the help. If you can't, خلاص, what else? Allah, if He knows what's goodness in you after repentance that you were planning to pay, then Alhamdulillah. When she's still alive, she needs to do her best in paying her debt. The last question: if the husband he have shared with his brothers who work in regular banks, or with the pharmacy because he's a pharmacist, and another one in oil, he's an engineer. The question: how those who took the loan, and I know it is riba, and but that's allowed or no to have partnership with someone who took a loan? It's allowed on your part, but if there is no temptation that he will loan more. If he took a loan, then you could have partnership with him, because the money and the resources where it came from is on the person who took it, not on the partnership. That if not, then the Muslim always stop in the order of Allah, and the Muslim need to take for him, need to have a good partner who is trustworthy. So the blessing of the trade and the Prophet. Meaning Allah Azza wa Jalla put the blessing for the partners as long as one of them do not betray the other, and He will take care of them and He protect their money. Dear brothers and sisters, inshallah we'll continue Monday inshallah.